Yo, what's the deal? It's your host, Queen Supreme, and we are on the Supreme Podcast. It's Blog Talk. How's everybody doing? We keeping it live. We doing what we gotta do to pay these bills, y'all. It is Friday, and whatever you got planned for the weekend, be safe about it. Be smart about it, and keep your eyes on your prize. You heard me? I want to thank you for all my listeners for listening. If you want to ever reach out to me, you can always hit me up on Supreme Podcast Hits, the blog. Subscribe, please. And you can hit me up on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram at The Real Super Savage. Let's get it poppin'. Yeah, you know what that sound is. We got some Blog Talk news for you folks. Top news is the Jungle Podcast Season 1 is over, but you can always listen to it on your favorite podcast station like iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and many more. Check it out even on Facebook under The Real Super Savage. And other podcast news, Discover You Season 1 has launched and premiered. We're in episode 2, and it basically is for healing, for seeking answers regarding yourself, for health and awareness with mental fitness, for parenting advice, anything regarding self-awareness and self-esteem, loving yourself. It's all about uplifting people. It's not just for women. It's also for men. It's a way to reach out to everyone to let you know that, we're human and everybody goes through things. It's just how you perceive it. And if you perceive it a certain way, how you get an understanding on it. One thing about Discover You will find is that you will always be enlightened and real, because one thing I do strive in is always bringing you correct information. So with that being said, please always on Thursdays and Fridays, Discover You. Now, I am looking for a guest co-star host to hang with me all next week as we take a look down Time Out Podcast. If anybody was not informed, Time Out Podcast is awareness for missing and exploited people and children, and it brings awareness to being safer in your community, being involved in your community. So that being said, we'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. But I want to let you know that the Projects podcast show will premiere next week. It was supposed to premiere this week, but I have so many other activities and things that I'm dedicated to that I had to push it back. But it will premiere Tuesdays and Thursdays and at 7. And it's basically about 4 friends that grew up in the same neighborhood, and they're going different directions in life. Some are going to college or getting a job afterwards. But, they venture off into senior. On their senior year, they venture off into a senior trip. And the senior trip has so many different things that's going to take place inside of their lives that may change them forever. And the whole concept behind the projects is that you are not your circumstance, that anything can change for you, that there's always possibility for growth if you allow yourself to grow. And these 4 brothers and I call them brothers because they grew up together, but their stories are different and their struggles are different, but their living situation, they all live in shorter green apartment complex, which is in a project area that many low income families live in. And so they live there their whole life. And so they're finna get ready to start their own lives as they graduate high school. And so I just thought that this would be a good idea to do this show to bring awareness to the young adults in the world, to let you know that if you're going through something now, you know, are you have any questions about being involved in your in higher education as far as college or the military, or just going straight to the workforce, that you know you are supported, there are other options for you, and just to keep going and growing in potential of educationing of new education and educating yourself is an option for you. So they're gonna take a senior trip, as we all do, when we're in senior year in high school. And on the senior trip, you know, there's gonna be some twists and turns. So I want you guys to stay tuned to that, as well as Time Out. When we return, Time Out. Kate's story. She's been missing for 6 months. What's the deal? Now she don't have any clue where she is. She doesn't know how long she's been missing, and they've already considered her case a cold case. And we'll be right back on more of the Supreme Podcast Hits. I'm your host, Queen Supreme. Yo, it's your girl, Queen Supreme, and you are locked in to the Supreme Podcast Hits Blog Talk. Subscribe to me, and we shall see. Yo, we are back with your girl, Queen Supreme, and you are on the Blog Talk Supreme Podcast Hits show. Welcome back. We left off talking about one of my shows called Time Out. Podcast shows which bring awareness to missing and exploited people and children all over the world. This story is Kate's story. She has been missing. She was taken from her home, and, you know, she's been missing 6 months. She's been through hell and back. There may be a break for her. There may be a way that she can get through this, you know, in the depths in the back of her mind. Yes, she has given up because one fight after another to save her own life has failed. She's even killed one of her attackers. And I mean, it just continues on as survival skills are kicking in for her. Every minute is crucial now that a woman, okay, the place she's being held at, she's being held in like a canteen. It's kind of like a trailer for a train. And so she's being held on a woman's cornfield. Now the cornfield is a couple of 100 acres long. And the woman, she very seldomly, probably once every couple of months, goes around her own property on a tractor, and she, you know, surveys her own land. Well, she discovered it. She discovered the canteen. And so, she called police and she wants it removed. Now, there is an officer that's going to go out there. He's very familiar with the area. But this could be a break for Kate, you know. This could be a break for her. If he goes just straight through town where she is, he's not going to see the canteen. But if he goes the back way, he will see something on the woman's property. And then that would lead to further investigation that will rescue Kate. But what direction will he take? And that's a big key factor in Kay's life, because she has the keys to get out. But she's so frustrated, and she's so furious with herself, and I mean, she's just at a bowling point. She's scared. Of course, anyone would be scared. And so, yes, she has the keys. Yes, she can undo herself. She's tried once, but it's just at this point, it's now or never. And many times in our lives, when people we love don't communicate with us because either they're mad at us or just because of work or they get busy, and we don't reach out to them. And then there's some people that want to talk to their loved ones and their families, and they can't because they're missing. And that's a big thing for me, to be able to call my family and say, I love you. I might not call you every day, but I love you. But just think in your mind, feel with your hearts, if you're not able to call that favorite cousin or your grandmother because someone has taken them forcefully, abruptly, abused them, took their livelihood from them as far as their peace, their safety. It's just so upsetting to know that she's been missing for 6 months. And what are the police doing? It's only so much they can do with technology and lack of evidence. But I don't believe any cold case, any missing persons case should ever end up a cold case. And I say that with I say that in a sense to say this, because anything can happen. Every minute, every second, every hour, every day counts against that person that is missing. So it's up to us to keep their name, their case alive, because that's a human life. And why would you put a human life on a cold case if you don't have proof of a murder? So with Kate's situation, next week, what will she do? Yes, I took a week off from timeout, because timeout is near and dear to my heart. It's something that I went through, and being abducted, taken from your life and what you believe in your home and your family. It takes a big toll out of you, and a lot of people never become the same person, never come back from that. So it's hard for me sometimes to continue on with that show, even though I want to raise awareness. That's what keeps me going, raising awareness for this show. But Kate is at her limit. She does not. It's either this or she'd rather be dead. So this police officer direction that he takes will make a big break in this case. And for anybody that knows about missing cases, it could be 20, 30 years down the line and they can still find someone. So that's the reason why you never give up on anybody. Now, of course, Kate's family is very, very distraught. And it stems back from, like I said, she's a lawyer. And the people that took her over, I just don't see the point. And why they did that. They did it because they had committed a crime, a bank robbery, and they needed a lawyer. Well, she's a prosecuting attorney. So she's putting the bad guys away. But at the same time, they feel that since she's a lawyer, that she could help them stay out of prison. And when she denies them, over I think about 10 or 11 years pass by before they even seek revenge. And it's just, you never know what is on a person's mind. And she probably just said she couldn't do it, or she didn't have the time or whatever. But, to be taken for something so unaware that you have even offended anyone is just crazy for me to think about. When it comes to missing people, a lot of times the people that take you, and in case, she knows them, and she knows the voices are familiar and things of that nature. So next week on Wednesday, we're going to see what happens. And if you believe that the police will save her, find her and save her, hit me up on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Send me a message, The Real Super Savage, super, or you can hit me up on superrealsavage@gmail.com. Or you can always look on my blog. That's Supreme Podcast Hits Blog Talk. Because I'm letting you guys know now. I mean, how do you think this is going to play out? One false move, her accusers are already, they're already getting frustrated, fighting with each other. The plan is falling apart. And when you have someone there's such a unscrewed, untamed mind frame, you have to think about it this way. Will they? No, they didn't kill her the first time that she tried to escape, but will they kill her this time if they find out that she has the keys? I mean, anything could happen that can set somebody off and they snap and they hurt you. So, we have three more episodes of Time Out and Kate's story. And these are the last crucial episodes that you don't want to miss. And with that being said, I do have a few shows. Like I said, I have Discover You, and I have The Power is from last season. The Power is an entrepreneur podcast that talks about businesses, focuses on entrepreneurship, employment in different states in your area. So take a look at it as that as well. When you want to relax, have fun, have some compassion, have some awareness, whatever you want to do as far as listening wise, I promise you, if you listen to my podcast, I have so many different podcasts for so many different levels of life and living, that you're gonna be glued to these real stories. You're gonna be glued to the information, because this is what I do. And I'm in the industry of helping people. I'm in the industry of keeping it 100. I'm in the industry of keeping awareness, letting people know what's going on that the news people are not talking about. Sometimes we as people, we forget about a lot of stuff because we're dealing with our own lives, and that's understandable. But for Queen Supreme, I never forget about people, and I want to thank you guys for listening to me. And until next week, with more Blog Talk news from your host, Queen Supreme, and you can catch me on any podcast site, and as well as Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok. Thank you guys, and have a blessed weekend. Peace.